So 5 tight ends I'm going to target and I want to trade for going into week 7 here. The number 1 guy is Darren Waller of the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders coming off a bye, and Waller, I've been seeing him getting traded now in a few leagues, and I don't know why. He's had one bad game all year, and that's because of Bill Belichick and his plan to take out always the best player on a team. So in PPR leagues, Waller, he's a guaranteed 12 to 15 a week. He's the number 1 guy over there on the offense, him and Josh Jacobs for the Raiders. Henry Ruggs came back versus Kansas City, which opened up the whole middle of the field with his deep ball threat. So if there's an owner out there disgruntled or whatever trying to trade Waller, you go out there and get him at a right price. So Darren Waller, the first guy I'm going to try to get this week at tight end in a trade. The second guy, Noah Fant of the Denver Broncos. I'm going to get a tight end this week is Jimmy Graham of the Chicago Bears. Graham had a quietly good season for tight ends. He's 5th, top 5 in points for tight ends is Jimmy Graham. He's a red zone target. Nick Foles has been looking for him since he got inserted in the starting lineup. The Bears, they like to kill the clock a little, slow it down on offense, and Jimmy Graham, that big red zone target, this is the first time he's been relevant in a few years here, and he's resurging with the Chicago Bears. His worst game of the year was about 4 or 5 fantasy points, but it seems like every week Jimmy Graham could get you 7 to 12 points. His best game of the year was a 24-point fantasy football outing. So if Jimmy Graham's out there in your league on the free agent wire, you definitely go out there and grab him. He's much better than most options that we see. Like I said in the other video, Mike Gesicki, Gronkowski, Graham's had a better year than. So you go out there and get Jimmy Graham. The third guy, a tight end I want to buy this week, trade for, is Noah Fant, and this might be the only week you got a chance to get him. Fant coming off injury. He was one of the main targets on Denver. Now with Cortland Sutton out for the season, mostly now, we've known that he's out for the year. He's going to be the number 1 target, I think, in Denver. He had a couple monster games early in the year, 19 and 17 in PPR leagues is Fant. This week, he's got a good matchup versus Kansas City, who gives tight ends a decent amount of points. And Noah Fant, he's a vocal point in that Denver offense. You know, Denver's going to be trailing a lot in games, so they're going to have to be throwing. So if Fant's on the block in your league, you definitely should go out there and try to trade for him, because Fant, he could give you a good 12 to 15 a week also. Very underrated is the second-year tight end. The fourth guy I'm going to go out there and get is Hunter Henry of the Los Angeles Chargers. People forget about Henry, and they also might be concerned about his injury history, because it seems like every year he misses 4 to 8 ball games or whatever with something. But when Henry plays, very productive at the tight end position is Henry. He's a big target. It's a good thing Justin Herbert's in there for all the Chargers for fantasy purposes. Herbert's got a big arm. He's fearless. Good accurate ball. He gets his guys the ball. The middle of the field opens up more with Herbert in there. He's better than Tyrod Taylor. I don't know why the Chargers went to Taylor to start the year. This kid Herbert should have been starting every year. Everyone gets their own. And Hunter Henry, if he's on the block and an owner's looking to trade him, and you could get him for a little low value after coming off the bye, this is the week to get Hunter Henry before it's too late. And the 5th and final tight end I'm targeting is TJ Hockenson, the big tight end of the Detroit Lions. He's had a pretty decent fantasy year, and he's pretty accurate to scoring 7 to 11 points for you in PPR leagues. He's Hockenson. He's a tight end in the red zone that Matt Stafford likes to target. We saw him last week on a little out route score a touchdown. So Hockenson, a lot of people might underrate him, but if he's out there on your trade block or even dropped, I saw him in a few leagues after the bye a few weeks ago. You go get the Hockenson out there. There's far worse options that I see teams running out there in their starting lineup. So if you could get Hockenson for a cheap running back like an Antonio Gibson or something. You go out there and get him. So that's 5 tight ends I'm targeting and trying to trade for this week in week 7 of the fantasy football season.